everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm just going to wrap up the theme park series and do my 3 favorite rides of Universal in Orlando. Specifically, I have done Universal in California, I think twice, but I really don't remember much of it. And obviously, you all know I go to Florida every year, so let's do Universal Orlando. So, Universal has 3 theme parks and 1 water park. I'm not going to cover the water park. I didn't do that for Disney either. I'm just going to cover the theme parks. And I'll actually start with the newest one because there's only 3 rides I did in that one. Reason being, I was there last year when it opened last year. It had been open for a few months, but that park has some major teething problems, and a lot of the rides were just down for, just not working, which is still, I think they opened in May, if I'm not mistaken, last year, so they've been open for over a year now. They still have serious capacity problems where every ride is just a ridiculously long queue, and they still have a lot of rides down on a daily basis, so they really need to sort that out. I don't know if they're going to, but they need to sort that out. Anyway, so 3 favorite rides. I'm gonna open Google because I realized that I don't actually know the full names of the rides. I should have done this beforehand, but as always, I'm very unorganized. Big Universe rides. Okay. Let's see if we can get a list. Yes, okay. So the first one I did actually that I really liked was Minecart Madness. I believe that's a Donkey Kong ride, if I'm not mistaken. It's a roller coaster, but it doesn't make loops. Yay! It doesn't go backwards. Also, yay! I would say it's kid friendly, but it does go really fast. But it's a really fun ride, I will say. So I bought an express pass when I went because I went on my birthday. Epic Universe is not included in any sort of ticket package you buy. You have to still pay for Epic Universe separately. So I went for 2 days. I went the day of my birthday and the day after. And then I did the day of my birthday with an express pass and the day after without. And I can tell you that the day after, I only did 1 ride because the wait was 4 hours. And after that, I was done. I just didn't want to be there anymore. So for this year, I booked 1 day with an express pass. The express pass was almost twice the amount of the day ticket. But if you can afford it, which you usually can't, I know, if you go with a whole family, it's ridiculous. But if you go by yourself and you can afford it, I would highly recommend it because otherwise you're not going to ride many rides in that park. I believe the Minecart Madness had something like a 240-minute wait. So that's 4 hours. And I obviously didn't wait that long. I got into the express line, but while I was in the express line, there was an announcement that it had broken down. Now, a lot of people left the queue. A lot of people also didn't. If I was near the front of a 240-minute wait, I wouldn't leave the queue either. I'd be like, fuck you, you're gonna have to kick me out because I've been waiting here for 4 hours. I'm not now leaving to do this again. I ended up waiting, I think, about 45 minutes, which is long for an express pass, but, I won't complain given how long other people had to wait. Before I got on, I think the ride was down for like 20 minutes, and then waited in total for 25 on top of that. But it was a really fun ride, and I would absolutely do it again. The other ride was Mario Kart. No, was it the Mario Kart one? No, sorry, it was Yoshi's Adventure. I didn't do the Mario Kart one because it's sort of like a virtual reality one, and I was a little bit afraid I would get nauseous. But now I think to myself, just do it. If you get nauseous, just close your eyes. But you can't avoid rides because they might make you nauseous. Like roller coasters, yes, because closing your eyes doesn't help on that. If you get nauseous, yeah, it could get bad. But simulators or virtual reality or anything that gives you genuine motion sickness, you can just close your eyes and you're fine. So this year I'm definitely going to try that one. I have heard from people who have motion sickness that one didn't actually give them motion sickness. I'm going to try that. But Yoshi's Adventure is one I did. It is very much so. It's an omni-mover ride. It gives very much like People Mover vibes, and we all know how much love the People Mover. Except the People Mover moves you through other rides and explains things and stuff like that. This moves you at a very slow pace in like a line of carts at a very slow pace through a scene of Mario World, whatever, really. It's called Yoshi's Adventure, I believe, because the carts are shaped like Yoshi, but it's really just like a Mario World. You've got the pipes with the plants coming out, and you've got the brick walls with the little question mark blocks and stuff. Like, you just go through a scene of Mario World. And it's chill, it's cute, and actually, as much as I'm like all about Zelda, I do really love Mario. I feel they're not really, I thought they would have released Super Mario Galaxy 2 Super Mario Odyssey 2 by now, but they still haven't. But I do really like some Mario games, not all of them, but I like Mario games in general, and just the Mario world. So that was a really nice one, also because it was chill, and it didn't have a very long queue with or without Express Pass. It wasn't like ridiculously long like some of the others. And then the other one was Battle at the Ministry. It's a really cool ride. It is part simulator, but again, it's a little bit, well, actually I would say it's more like Forbidden Journey than Escape from Gringotts, given that you're not actually on a track. You don't feel grounded. You do actually float, but it surprisingly didn't give me any motion sickness. But you go through a scene of essentially Dolores Umbridge's trial at the Ministry in London for her crimes against humanity, really. After the Battle of Hogwarts has taken place, so this is kind of post Harry Potter books. And then, a whole bunch of stuff happens, and it's really cool. The queue, because I didn't have to queue long, but I think I spent a good 20 minutes just walking through the express queue. The inside of it is huge. Looks exactly like the Ministry of Magic really does in the movies. It's got this this like shiny green tile against the wall everywhere. It's got sort of fake flue powder fireplaces. It's got the big fountain, but not the one that she created with, like house elves at the bottom and muggles at the bottom and then, wizards at the top. It's got the original, everyone's sort of equal fountain. It's a really nice set. However, that ride has a kind of consistent queue of 400 minutes. I suck at math. How much is 400 minutes? Well, 420 minutes would be 7 hours, so we're close to that. It's like a 7-hour queue. So if you want to do that ride and you don't have an express pass, just count on that ride be the only one you do for the day, because it's gonna take you 7 hours. And everyone does it. I've always said I don't queue even 180 minutes for anything. Take that back. I didn't do the ministry one on that second day because I wasn't going to queue for 7 hours. I did the Minecart Madness one, which was a 4-hour queue at the time. And I did do it just because everything was a really high queue that day, and I didn't want to have paid my ticket for a day, which is attached to a specific date, so I couldn't go another day. And then not do anything, just walk around the park, I didn't want to waste it, but I still only did one ride. So the Battle at the Ministry is a wonderful ride, but an insanely long queue. Also, if anyone knows this, can you please explain this to me, because I've Googled it numerous times and I can't find an explanation for it. Why is the Harry Potter portion of Epic Universe set in France? It's a French town. All the restaurants and cafes have French names. They have little patios. Everything looks French. It's a French town. Now, in itself, I don't mind this. I know the Beauxbaton School of Wizardry, or whatever it's called, exists. They were at the Triwizard Tournament. I know that France is, mentioned in the Harry Potter books. What doesn't make sense to me is that the battle at the Ministry, which is the Ministry of London, takes place in a French town. Why is the Ministry of London located in France? It isn't, because we all know from the books and movies it's in London, duh. But in the park, the whole area is a French town, and then you've got the Ministry of Magic in London. I'm so confused. It makes no sense to me. I also didn't find any of the shops or restaurants interesting because they had nothing to do with Harry Potter for me. The only mention of France we've ever really had is the Beauxbaton Academy. I don't believe we've ever had like a storyline or a description of an area in France of the wizarding world. So I don't recognize anything in it as being from Harry Potter. I don't get a Harry Potter vibe in the slightest in that space, just on the ride, because the inside looks very much like the Ministry in London. But I'm just so confused. I don't know why they would make it a French town if you're gonna put the Ministry of Magic in it. And it is clearly the London one, A, because of how it looks, and B, Umbridge wouldn't be tried in a different country. So, if anyone knows the answer to that, please let me know, because it not only confuses me, it annoys me. I think because I'm confused and don't understand where it's coming from. But anyway, yeah, Epic Universe, Battle at the Ministry, Minecart Madness, and Yoshi's Adventure. And I may update that. I really wanted to do Curse of the Werewolf, but it was closed. I really wanted to do Monsters Unchained, but it was closed. I did not want to do Stardust Racers, not because of the accident that happened, but because it is a roller coaster that does make loops. I think it's just not my type of roller coaster. And then the Isle of Berk, so the dragon area, was completely closed on the day I was there. Both days I was there. I don't know what they were doing to it, but I didn't ride any of the dragon rides because they were all closed. So hopefully this year I have a little bit more luck with rides being open and I can visit or do a few more. The express pass is for one use per ride, so I could ride every ride once, and that would probably take up my whole day anyway. So definitely gonna try to do more of that this year. Alright, so moving on to Universal Studios. There are only 3 rides right in there as well. There used to be 4. I'm still mad they closed Shrek 4D. I loved Shrek 4D. Oh, it was so much fun. But yeah, they closed that. I am wondering, I haven't ridden the Mummy in a really long time. I know the Mummy goes backwards, but it's also in the dark, and I don't know if that would give me motion sickness. Again, maybe one of the things I just need to try out. But the 3 rides I do every time, and I also love doing are E.T., Men in Black, and Escape from Green Gods. So E.T. is just old as hell. It's the first time I went to Florida, the only time I went before 2010 was when I was 15. So that would have been like 1997. Was I 15 or was I 14? I think it may have been 1996. I don't know. Somewhere late 90s. I went to Orlando, and it's the only ride. No, it's not the only ride I remember. I remember Twister and I remember Earthquake, both of which are long gone and both of which I loved. But I think E.T.'s the only one that's left from that time. I remember Jaws. I remember the movie ride, which still existed back then in Orlando. It existed for a long time in Hollywood. I think it might be gone out too, but I'm not sure if it's still there. But I think the only ride, maybe Rip Ride Rocket. That was an old one. Oh, but it's not left anymore. They dismantled it this year. It's gone. It's not coming back. It's being replaced by something else. I think the only ride that's still left from my childhood back then is E.T. Now, I know Universal have talked a few times about closing E.T., and Steven Spielberg, who has a couple of rides from his movies, if you just look at, like, Jurassic Park, and was King Kong a Spielberg movie? Ooh, I don't want to see that. Steven Steven Spielberg has said if you ever remove E.T., you have to remove everything of mine from the parks. Because E.T. is so near and dear to his heart, he never wants that ride to go away. And he will not give Universal permission to use his rides based on any of his other, rides based on any of his other movies if they ever remove E.T. Great move, because I think E.T. is a fantastic ride. It is really old, but I grew up with the movie, and it's a really fun ride. You board BMX bikes, and you fly through the movie scenes with E.T. sort of in a basket at the front of your bike. You're essentially helping E.T. escape from the government and bring him back to his home planet. And then at the end you see his home planet and all the creatures there and stuff like that. It's just cute, and it's a really nice ride. Men in Black is a shooting game. You just have like a laser gun, and you need to shoot targets and get as many points as you can. It spins around a couple of times. I'm okay with it until the very last spin. The very last spin is like I push the red button to get my 100,000 extra bonus points, and then I immediately put my head against the backrest and close my eyes, because it spins, I believe, 4 times in a row, and then spins in the other direction 1 time, and then you reach the end of the ride. And if I don't close my eyes for that, it's over. So I always close my eyes for that part, but the rest of the ride I can do fine. And I love it. I'm so competitive with myself. I always want to best myself. And because they have a single rider queue, which again, mentioned this at Disney, it on a lot of rides, and for Men in Black that's also true, it works faster than a fast pass, like an express pass queue. I ride it sometimes like 5 times in a row. I just get off, use single rider queue, get back on. I love it. I love Men in Black. And then Escape from Gringotts is part simulator, part roller coaster, and I think for that very reason it never gives me motion sickness, because you are physically in a cart on a track and you're grounded, like you feel it beneath you, and it's the feeling, I think, of floating that gives me motion sickness. And because you don't have that here, there's only one scene where are they trolls? With like a big spike ball on a stick, knocks your rails. It breaks the rail, supposedly, that your cart is on, and you fall really deep into the abyss until Bill Weasley, who works at Gringotts, casts a spell to stop you from falling. Sometimes I get a little nauseous in that moment, but most of the time I don't. It's fine. I think at this point it's also because I know what the first time I did, but I think at this point it's because I know what to expect, that I don't feel that anymore. But it's such a great ride. Also, the carts spin around, and you get shot into a different scene by going really fast on the tracks, and it's such a fun and cool ride. I've also done that 5 times in a row, just through the single rider queue. It also has a single rider queue. I've done that many times in a row. It's actually, there's one scene where Voldemort comes after you, and depending on where you sit, if you actually sit in the front row, he looks really close to you, like he's like right in front of your face. And I remember at one time screaming, "Oh my god, this is so freaky!" Like, he really scares me. I thought that was a really scary scene, and to this day, it still scares me. The way he seemingly comes after you. It's just such a great ride. I love it. I do like the area of Diagon Alley, but it's kind of small and packed with people. It's always really crowded. So I don't tend to hover around there too long. I usually get an ice cream from Florian Fortescue's and then make my way over to King's Cross Station next door and use my Park Hopper Pass to take the Hogwarts Express to Islands of Adventure. By the way, Hogwarts Express also a great ride, but yes, it is kind of a ride, but I don't know if I would really count it as a ride. It's really just more transportation between the two parks. And then we get to Islands of Adventure, and my favorite rides there would have to be definitely Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Adventure. This is a difficult one. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Jurassic Park River Adventure and Ripsaw Falls. Now, I haven't done Jurassic Park, Ripsaw Falls, or Popeyes in years because they're all water rides, and when I tell you that you get soaked on them, I mean you get soaked on them. Every single person. Jurassic Park River Adventure is a little bit less bad, and I think if you sit in the middle of the boat, you might not get wet. But Ripsaw Falls and Popeyes, forget about it. There's not a dry patch on your body. There's not a dry hole in your body. Trust me. I haven't done those in a while because I keep forgetting to bring my poncho, and I don't like walking around wet all day, except if it's like roasting. And last year I went in November and it was really cold. It was like colder than in Ireland. It was exceptionally cold in Orlando that time. I am adamant, like, it's hanging right on my door. I think after this video, now that I remember it, I might already fold up my poncho and put it in my Orlando bag. I have a bag that I put stuff in for Orlando that I can't forget because I really want to do them again. I haven't done them, I think, since COVID, to be honest, since I went back in 2022, but they are still my favorites. Let's first start with Hagrid's. It's an extremely fast roller coaster, which I think is why I love it. Speed is my thing. I really love the faster it goes. It goes backwards, and if it were to go backwards for 5 seconds longer than it does, I would hurl. It stops right at the point where I feel nausea coming on, so it stops like right on time. I don't want to spoil the ride too much for people who haven't done it. There's at that point a thing that happens that you would not expect at all if you haven't ridden it before. And even though I know it's coming, I dread it because I don't like the feeling of it. But it's also partly what makes the roller coaster very unique and genius. And other than that, it's just like zoom, 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 like it's super fast. And it's a motorbike with a sidecar. So you can either sit on the bike, which is my preference, I think it's almost everyone's preference, or you can sit in the sidecar. Now, if you do the single rider queue, like me usually, you get put in the sidecar because the person who queued the whole way gets to choose, and most of them choose the bike, and then you get stuck in the sidecar. I've only once had someone who had never done it before and said to me, "What do you prefer?" And I said, "Well, I prefer the bike, but it's your choice. And she said, oh, I don't mind taking the sidecar. I've never done this before. So that was really great. I have done Express Pass for it twice, and chosen the bike. However, Universal, in a move that baffles me, have removed Express Pass from that ride this year. Or are removing it. I don't know if they've already done it, but by the time I go, it'll be gone. I tend to stay in a deluxe Universal resort at least for a few nights, so I get free Express Pass with my stay. But if I don't have that, like, it's just a perk that is less and less valuable if you're gonna not have it on a lot of rides. Like, Hagrid's didn't have it for, I think, the first 3 years because it was too new. Velocicoaster doesn't have it yet because it's too new. Things like, what's the other ride? I thought there was one more ride in Universal that didn't have it. But I'm sure whatever they build instead of Rip Ride Rocket is not going to have it. So if you're replacing everything with new rides that aren't eligible for the Express Pass for the first 3 years, what's the point? And then they brought it in for Hagrid's, and because the regular queue became way too long, they decided to just do it with the Express Pass because they think it'll balance the queue better. And I'm like, that's kind of bullshit. It's your mistake. For like Express Pass people, at least I don't expect to be let on in front of everyone else all the time. I still expect to have some queue, but like a third maybe of what the regular queue is. What they always do is they just let Express Pass on, and then everyone in the regular queue has to wait an extra like 20 minutes, 30 minutes for the Express Pass people coming in to get on first, like get on practically immediately. And now they're saying the regular queue is too long because of Express Pass, we're gonna remove it. And I'm just like, no, it's not too long because of Express Pass, it's too long because you're doing Express Pass wrong. In the end, the single rider queue will still exist, but it's not always open, which bothers me too. And it's a great ride, but again, I'm not queuing 180 minutes for it, so we'll see what that, actually we won't see what that looks like. I'm not doing Universal this year. I am only doing Epic Universe for one day. I decided I'm a little done with Universal. When my friend and I used to go, we went together for the first time in 2010, and then we went every 2 years until 2016. And we only ever did Universal. We did, I think, Disney twice for 1 day each time, but we were all about Universal. And then when I went back by myself for the first time in 2018, because she had just bought a house and couldn't afford to go, and I had just gotten a new job and was making a lot more money, and I was like, oh, I can actually go by myself. I started going by myself every year until COVID, and then again every year after that. I started doing Disney and loved it more, or started loving it more, because it has a lot more rides catered for kids that I can do, and not rides that I can't do. You know, like, I've done Universal so many times. I do 3 rides in Islands of Adventure. I do typically 3 rides in Studios, which is Hagrid's, Flight of the Hippogriff, and I do Escape from, no, that's the other one. Forbidden Journey. Like once, Forbidden Journey makes me scene parts because you're just moving through a scene, and I think it's really well done. I do still love the ride, I just can't watch the screens. So all the Harry Potter parts, essentially, I take the Hogwarts Express from one park to the other. I arrive in Hogsmeade, I do the 3 Harry Potter rides, I buy a frozen butterbeer, and I walk out of the park through Dr. Seuss Land, and I avoid everything else. Occasionally I'll do King Kong, but that's only if I feel like walking around the rest of the park without doing anything else, because like I said, I haven't done the water rides in a few years, so I can't actually do them this year either because I felt like I was spending too much money on a place that I was not doing enough rides, and also I need to start giving myself some time to miss it. I don't miss Universal in the slightest. I often stay there for a week and do the parks twice, and for 5 days I just watch TV in my hotel room, which is not the point. And I don't think that is necessarily an ADHD thing. I think I'm just done with Universal for a while, so I'm gonna skip it this year for the most part. Just the one day that I'm doing, and then maybe I'll miss it next year, but I might skip next year altogether. Ooh, shock and horror, I know. But I feel like I don't want to lose my love for Orlando, and it's much more fun to go when you've missed it like crazy than it is to go because you're going out of habit, and I feel like that's where I am at the moment. I'm really looking forward to my Disney days, but I don't miss them yet. I'm still currently just going out of habit, so I might skip it altogether next year, I'll see. But anyway, not doing Universal this year aside from Epic Universe. But if I was going to do Jurassic Park, although I think it's closed again for refurbishment, which was only done a few years ago. But it's just a giant boat that you sail through dinosaurs, and then you supposedly have to take a certain path, but your boat gets derailed into a dangerous area, and you encounter a T-Rex and an animatronic with two dinosaurs actually fighting over an arm that doesn't have a person attached to it. And then you go really high up because the final drop is really high. And then, splashed with water. And that's and Ripsaw Falls is a log ride, but so different from what Splash Mountain was. You get soaked. I like the story of Ripsaw Falls as well. It's a pretty long log ride, but you don't just get wet at the end. There's like spray cannons and stuff along the way, and even the smallest drop, I don't know how they do it, already splashes water into your log. The final drop is also really high and actually goes in 2 parts. You drop really deep and then you skirt for on a straight piece, and then you drop a little bit again, and everyone just gets ridiculously soaked. It's a disgusting feeling, I will say, for the water to run into your log and your feet to just get soaked. I always wear my Crocs. When I know I'm gonna do water rides at Universal, I wear my Crocs because they dry the fastest and my feet dry the fastest in them. But yeah, it's prepare to get soaked. And I do briefly want to talk about Popeyes. Popeyes is a raft ride, one of those big round rafts that seats 12 people. Never raft rides in theme parks in Belgium effectively make one person half wet. On Popeyes, everyone gets wet and brutally wet. Like, your boat gets like hit with tsunamis, genuinely. Like, there are waves overtoppling your raft from all different sides. At one point, you get pulled up on one of those rollator things to then start the second part of your journey down. And there are also water spouts from all sides, and they don't switch off when you go past them like on a lot of rides. They just keep going. And at one point, I remember we got stuck on that thing, and I was sitting backwards, and there was a spout that was going into my lap for 5 straight minutes. We didn't move for 5 minutes, and it just kept going. I was wearing jeans, shorts, so, and everyone else, jeans does not dry. Luckily, it was a really hot day. I didn't mind so much wearing wet shorts all day, but it looks, like you peed your pants from all sides. Everyone in the raft, including, that was when I was still going with my friend, and her parents were there. But even strangers, everyone in the raft was like in fits of laughter because this spout was literally just in my lap for 5 straight minutes, and there's nothing I could do. I was soaked. But in fairness, everyone is soaked on that ride. So if you've never been to Universal and you are going soon and you are thinking of doing the water rides, prepare. If it's a really hot day, fine, get soaked. You'll be dry in half an hour. If it's not a really hot day, bring a poncho. And good shoes. You're not allowed to take your shoes off on either ride. But the raft ride has this center sort of console type thing where you can put your stuff that you don't want to get wet, and then it has a tarp over it. But you're not allowed to put shoes in there. You have to keep your shoes on. It's a safety thing. If you need to be evacuated really quickly, no one has time to wait for you to put your shoes on, so you're not allowed to take them off. And sometimes, that was not the case when I got stuck on the thing, but sometimes the ride gets stopped because someone took their shoes off. There's cameras everywhere, and they call it out and are like, please put your shoes back on before we continue with the ride. So you're not allowed to take your shoes off. So bring good shoes, and they do have people dryers, but they're pretty useless. We've used them a few times, and no. Especially if you're wearing anything jeans, that it doesn't dry. Didn't even dry my hair, to be honest. So yeah, that was it for those parks. So really, Islands of Adventure is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, Jurassic Park River Adventure, and Ripsaw Falls. As much as I haven't done the last two in a few years, they're still my favorites over others. I love Flight of the Hippogriff, but it's, short roller coaster. I like Forbidden Journey, but because I can't watch half of it, it's like half a ride for me. And King Kong is actually pretty cool, but it's a take it or leave it ride for me, and I can't do Velocicoaster. It's way too much. It has a lot of inversions, and it's also one of those that goes ridiculously fast, like Hagrid's, but then including the inversions, I just know I'm not going anywhere near that. Nor the Hulk. I used to do the Hulk a lot. I used to do Rip Ride Rocket a lot, but the Hulk also really